Hello, hello, everybody. Okay, so I know people are at work. So you're going to probably get this later and listen to it later, which is totally cool. All right. So I'm going to answer a bunch of questions. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post the link for my group members because you know how Facebook is funny. I'm going to post the link for my group members so you know how to go to this link. One time only, guys. Supposedly it's only one time. And you click something, it tells you what to do so that I can see your picture when you're commenting, or if not, I don't know who's commenting at all. So let me do that really quick under comments. So it is all right. So hopefully that goes through. Okay. So go there and click that if it's your first time, and you should be good to go. Okay. Oh my gosh, I've like been in the sun and I'm like, trying to get rid of some of this tan. Like I know a lot of people like to be tan, but it drives me crazy because I peel and it's all yucky. So anyway, long story short, click that so that I can see who's commenting. Okay. So if it's your first through third time catching me live, post a 1 below. If it is your third plus time, then you're oldies but goodies. You guys know what that means. Even though I've been gone for 2 months, I had to take a mental breakdown breather from all things IEP. Really, I didn't because I have tons of current clients. I was just not taking new clients because I just needed a break. We all do, right? So basically, I am the CEO and founder of Autism Mom Rocks IEP. I help parents like you gain the knowledge and the confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. I love what I do. I'm super passionate about it. I've been there, done that. Not everybody has the same situation, but the bullshit and everything that we deal with are very much like one another. Okay. And I get it. I get the hell. I get the stress. I get the frustration. I get the trust, that you feel has been broken, and you actually feel very saddened by that and offended and upset. And, that there's a loss there because you want to be able to do that. And, I always say, I feel like I come across as that like negative nanny, of all things IEP, but not all things are negative. But the thing is things are what they are. And, there's situations where we have wins. I have wins all the time, but getting there is it's like you have to get through the bullshit, and you have to get through that stress and that pressure and that hell, so to speak, to get there. And it shouldn't be like that. So that's that. All right, let's just move on to Q&As. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go back to like June 20th-ish on the group, and I'm going to start answering those questions that were posted. So if you're not on the group, go to Autism Mama Rocks IEP group on Facebook and feel free to join. And that's where, all the conversation happens. I know I've been, kind of absent, but I have a ton of amazing people on there that are great. And, conversation continued. I didn't have to be there, but I'm, excited to be answering some of those questions. If you have questions right here, right now, and you need those answered, post them in the comments and I will also get to them as well. Okay. And if I don't get to your question today, I promise that I will get to it the next time, or I may even personal message you the response. Okay. So post your questions in the comments if you have questions like right now or things that are going on. Don't be shy. a lot of things that you're going through, other people are going through. It's kind of like being in that room, listening to something that you're learning, seminar or whatnot. You have all these questions, but you're scared to ask the questions because everybody's kind of like quiet and wondering who's going to ask the first question. I'm always that person who asks the first question. It's a little awkward. It's a little weird. But no, put yourself out there, because your question, I can guarantee you somebody has that question. Okay. So be that person to ask it so that it can be responded to. And hopefully it helps somebody else in the process. So let's get started. Hey, BB, how are you? Don't forget, post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Make sure you say hi and tell me where you are from. I have finally hit 48 states. I am going to hit those 50 states this year. My year doesn't start January 1st. My year usually starts August, but us advocates, good advocates, work all year. Okay. We don't get that break. So me taking that 2-month mental breather was from COVID. And then last year, oh my God, guys, I totally needed it. All right. So let's get started. So again, post your questions. Someone opened their mouth, had an open mouth picture. What's up? Did I say something that offended you or something? Let me know. I'm not shy. Don't be shy. All right. So I'm going to start. And what I do, so you have to be patient with me, is I respond in writing as I talk or when I'm done talking, so that person knows that I responded on video to their question. Okay. So if you post questions and I'm going to be doing this twice monthly, starting in August. And so if you post questions on the group, then just know that twice a month I will be answering them. And I'm going back a month so that I can answer some of the questions now. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start. All right. I'm going to start with Shelly McBee Asvestas. Do not yell at me if I get your name wrong. I apologize in advance. Okay. So on June 17th, she said, I posted before in regards to them doing a behavior assessment on my son, and I thought it was like a test to see what triggers him, etc. I didn't know it's just them gathering data and talking to teacher. My question is, how will they know what starts my son's behavior and to try to help him? And another question, in my son's IEP, he's supposed to have tests read to him, which this teacher gave him 25 questions, told him to sit and do it. I'm so glad school is over. Okay. So let's start with the first question. So the first question is an FBA, is what more than likely was done, because anytime a behavior assessment is done, observation, etc., it's a functional behavior analysis, an FBA. That is when I prefer a BCBA to oversee your child, view your child, observe your child, whatever it is you want to say, in different areas, not just one time for 2 hours. I want them to go in the morning. I want them to go during an elective. I want them to go at lunch. And I want them to, at minimum, go 3 separate times. Okay? Because behavior, a BCBA is a board certified behavior analysis, and they are the most qualified when it comes to behavior, more so than a psychologist. Okay? Now, there are psychologists out there that, their expertise or their additional training was behavior, but you got to look at a psychologist as a pediatrician somewhat, okay? Because pediatricians know a little bit about a lot, but a heart surgeon knows a lot about the heart. that one thing, right? And that's what that BCBA is all about. They're all about behavior. All right. I finished like all of my schooling except 3 months. And no, I'm not going to go back, but I've done tons of FBAs and I love behavior. So things happened with Skylar, and I this is what I do and I love it. So, but behavior is my jam along with reading. So in the FBA, okay, so part of an FBA, one thing that they come up with is what's called a hypothesis. All right. Okay. What is the reason we're doing this evaluation? What is the behavior? What could possibly be triggering this behavior? And, what do we need to do about it? And we're hypothesizing on reasoning, if that makes sense. All right. So it's a guess. All right. A hypothesis is simply a guess. I'm hypothesizing of, it could be that, it could be this, it could be that, but what that really too is part of the ABCs. All right. So the A is the most important because the B is the behavior. All right. The behavior is the behavior is the behavior. And that's the whole point of the FBA. So we already know about the behavior. All right. The most important part is the antecedent. All right. So the antecedent is what she referenced. How are they going to know what starts my son's behavior and try to help him? So the antecedent is what is going on when that behavior is triggered. When is that behavior happening? Is it right when he walks into school? Is it during PE? Is it during lunch? Is it loud in the environment during the time of escalation or behavior? Is it where the teacher is talking to him and they don't click? All right. Is it another student making a noise or doing something that is bothersome to him? Not that the other student's doing anything wrong, but to him, it bothers him. So the antecedent is what is going on within my surroundings, within me, what is happening, who's talking, who's there, where are you at, anything that's happening before that behavior occurs is what must be looked at. All right. It's like a puzzle. All right. So you have to figure out, and it's frustrating for me. Okay, Shelly, it's very frustrating for me because many school districts have their staff do an FBA. So usually they'll say it's a psychologist and then the teacher and then a counselor and somebody else. Okay. Well, that's a clusterfuck. All right. Plain and simple. All right. The more people involved in a evaluation, the more clusterfuckness happens. All right. That's just how it is. All right. So the goal is not to clusterfuck. The goal is to figure out the problem and solve the problem instead of create more problems because you have all these different people with all these different opinions putting in their 2 cents into the basket. All right. Not that multiple people can't observe, but there has to be one specific person who's observing on multiple different occasions that writes up the summary and then can incorporate the 50,000 other people's opinions into that document and state, so-and-so said this, so-and-so said this. Organization is key, okay? I am anal when it comes to organization. There has to be clarity. There has to be that sense of knowing, okay, this is what was observed, this is what this is what, the BCBA saw, etc. And then the teacher and the lunch lady and the para and whoever else said this, all right? Because that's good to know too, all right? But when you have what happens is the psychologist will be the head person, and then the teacher or somebody else. I don't want teachers doing FBAs. I don't. I used to teach. We're not qualified for that. We're not. So why it's allowed is beyond me, but it's a big no. All right. Don't allow it. And if it does happen, then ask for an IEE. I'm just going to tell you straight up, it's your choice to ask for one or not, but I sure as hell would if that were my child. Okay. Because I know that that's not the person that's going to give me the data and the information I need to the quality in which I want. All right. So the teacher's job is to teach, not to do an FBA. All right. And I'll tell you, we don't learn how to do an FBA in school. I can tell you that right now. All right. So what happens is the teacher or someone else, or even the counselor or social worker will do the FBA, and then everybody else's opinions are put into it. And then the psychologist writes it up. Seriously? Do you see the mess that it's going to cause? It's like playing telephone, you know? One monkey's doing something, so the other monkey starts to do it, the other monkey does it, and then, you just got this mess, 5 little monkeys jumping on a bed, So it's, I don't even know if that made sense. Whatever. Just laugh it off. Okay. Whatever. I know about IEPs. I try to do analogies. I try to do all those other things, but I kind of suck at it. My husband says I suck at it, but whatever. I don't care. I'm going to do them anyway. So bottom line, it's like, don't do that. It's a clusterfuck. Okay. So ask for an IE if that happened, but your question's great. What starts my son's behavior, and what are they going to do to help him? Well, once you figure out the antecedent, then you create what's called a BIP, a behavior intervention plan. And that plan is like an IEP. It's separate from an IEP, but put into the IEP, if that makes sense. And it'll say, like, on the IEP, that the child has a BAP, blah, blah, blah. All right. Same quality, same federal document, etc. Okay. And the BIP is just like an IEP for behavior. So it should outline, this is what triggers the child's behavior in hitting. This is what triggers the child's behavior in escaping from work, because there can be escaping from their work that they're doing, or they can be escaping from the room or wherever they're at. So let's just say this is what triggers that. All right. And then it could be another thing. Say there's 3 behaviors. Then this is what triggers, the child banging his head. Okay. So once you figure out what the antecedent is, what's instigating, if you will, that behavior, then you're able to solve the problem. All right. And then eventually build back into, if it's a normal thing, and gradually bringing things back in. So for just a good example, if you have a child that is escalating in behaviors because there's too many kids in the classroom, or in the gen ed classroom, that's when their behaviors are escalating because there's 25 students versus in a more restrictive environment, say there's 7 students. All right. We want the child in the LRE, right? So at first, we may need to withdraw, and the child needs to be in a more restrictive setting, say, except for 2 hours a day. All right. And then we get that behavior under control. All right. And there is rewards during those 2 hours when the behavior is appropriate. So a plan needs to be put in place in order to encourage that child to demonstrate positive behavior. But here's the most important thing, not the demonstration of the positive behavior. So second to the antecedent of importance is who and how are they, the staff, going to teach and educate that child on how to replace that negative behavior with a positive behavior. Not once last year going through BIPs did I see how are you going to, I saw the antecedent, I saw the behavior, and then I saw what they wanted to happen. Okay, the child is escaping from work because they're frustrated. And so frustration is the antecedent. They're frustrated with work. It's hard, it's difficult, etc. And then the behavior is they're escaping from it. They're not wanting to do it, or they're, getting up from their seat and escaping from that work. Okay. And then the third part is Okay, what do we want them to do? Oh, we want them to do the work and maybe raise their hand to get help. Maybe we want them to, use their voice and say, I need help, or use their voice and say, I'm frustrated. So then we can address the frustration versus a behavior occur. All right. But that's what we want to happen. We're skipping a piece. It seems like we're always skipping a piece, right, Shelly? So we need to focus on one, what is the antecedent, what's causing the behavior? And then two, what are you going to teach that child in order for the outcome you want that you put on the paper to happen? Okay. So that answers that. You talk to me about behavior, I go on and on. Sorry. Then you have another question that says he's supposed to have his test read to. Well, if that's in the IEP, then if they're giving him a 25 question test and they're not reading it to him, then that's a violation of the IEP and a non-implementation of the IEP that is in place. Okay, so that is a violation. All right. And it's an OCR violation on top of it. So it's a state violation if you wanted to do that. But even better is the OCR violation, because the reading to the child and the 25 questions is an accommodation. So an accommodation or service that is not provided to a child that is in the IEP is a 504 ADA violation, okay, against that child's civil rights. Okay. So I would immediately make an OCR complaint, is what I would do. But my question for you is, how do you know the teacher gave him a 25 question test and told him to do it? Did he come and tell you that? Or do you know that for a fact and have proof to back it up? So that's my question for you. So now I'm going to just let you know that I responded. And we're going to move on to the next question. All right, I let her know. All right, next question. And don't forget to post your questions in the comment section. Click the link that I put up there, the streamyard.com/Facebook, if you're in the group and you it's your first time asking questions, so I can see you post. And don't forget to put a 1 if you are new to catching me live, and post a 2 if you're an oldie but goodie. Okay. All right. So the next question is from Brittany. All right. So she says, I have a question as I'm gearing up for another fight next school year. I had an IEP meeting in March this year where I requested my first grader be slowly introduced to gen ed by just attending one class for now for 30 minutes along with a para or RBT. I fought with them for 2.5 hours and even had an advocate with me. They refused, saying he's not ready. They really didn't give me a good reason as to why he couldn't. All right. So I'm going to stay there and address that. Number one, it's very difficult in responding to questions such as this because I don't know anything about your child. So I can generically respond, but I don't know your child's IEP background, etc. So I'm going to generally respond and say that it is not advisable, okay, and not allowed and required of school districts to just remove a child completely and utterly from the LRE, all right, gen ed. For a child to be completely removed from the LRE, a general education classroom, there must be certain things that are fact that are happening, because you're saying here they didn't give you a good reason why. Well, they need to have some hard evidence as to why. Okay. So there's no, I don't know about your advocate. I don't know how your advocate is, but that wouldn't have been accepted by me It would have been, then you're going to put them in gen ed. If you don't have a reason why, then you don't get to make that decision. School districts don't get to make that decision if they don't have a reason. And the thing is, Brittany, is they have to provide you a PWN, a prior written notice, after your IEP meeting when they deny something that is requested of a team member. So them or you are an equal team member. You're requesting your child be in gen ed. They're required to provide you a PWN, a prior written notice, saying we're denying the parent's request for a para and an RBT regarding attendance into a gen ed classroom because he's not ready. Because in a PWN, it is required by law for them to give reasoning. It actually says detailed reasoning as to why they denied the request. All right. So that's question one. All right. You go on to say, now my son has no aggressive or disruptive behaviors. He has autism, but is on point academically. I'm wondering if you meant to say now he has aggressive and disruptive behaviors. Not sure. Because then you go on to say he has autism, but is on point academically and is pretty verbal. He does get distracted easily and will require an adult to keep him on track at times, which is why I offered up our RBT, who is more than willing to go. My reasoning for wanting him to mainstream is because both psychologists and neurologists recommend he do so for the social aspect, and they believe he will progress so much more in that environment. He is starting to mimic other behaviors. Being in an autism unit all day, I'm afraid of him regressing. My question is, can they legally deny him access to the gen ed classroom when there is no valid reason? The answer is no. Okay. Thanks for reading. All right, so I'm going to respond to her. All right, so let's move on to the next question. And again, post your questions and I will come back to them. I know everybody's at work today, but you can still post your questions and I still will come back to them. All right, so moving on. Sandra Ferreira posted a really cool New Jersey schools are locking kids in padded rooms. Are they breaking the law? That was an interesting read. So if you have time to read that, that was very, very interesting. Interesting read for you guys. All right. I loved how Gabriella, she posted a journey regarding a dog and a support dog, a husky, beautiful, beautiful dog. So that's a good read too. Just letting you guys know. Next question from Carol. Hello, do any of your ASD children have pandas or pans? I'm wondering, I have a parent, Carol, that I can hook you up with. I'm wondering if flares are part of your IEP or behavioral plan. Of course they would be. And if so, what might that look like? We have never utilized public schools. He will be first year in middle school in the setting there. Okay. So hi, Scott. How are you? Welcome. Okay. So here's the deal. Carol, welcome to public school. There's good and bad about both private and public. So it is what it is. You're never going to get perfection. In regards to the pandas or pans, all right, that is a diagnosis. I am no doctor whatsoever. But what I can tell you is anything that is affecting the child in the educational setting, impacting the child in the educational setting, must go into the IEP in order to support them. Okay. So I can answer that question. In regards to what that will look like in the IEP or the behavior plan in the IEP, I can't answer because you don't give me any detail as to what is going on with your child. What type of things is your child doing? What type of behaviors is your child exhibiting? What are the things that we should look for when your child has a flare? So those are all the questions that I would ask you to find out all the kind of nitty gritty and detail in order to then help you and guide you into what would possibly be very beneficial in regards to putting into the IEP and also in regards to possibly getting an FBA in order to meet his needs behaviorally. Okay, so that is my answer to that. And so I'm going to let you know that I responded. All right. Move to the next question. So again, post your questions below. And again, I know it's like in the middle of the day, people are at work. So, when you catch me live, just post your questions below, tag me, and I will respond. All right. And again, I'm going to be doing this twice a month starting in August, and I will go and answer questions on the group. Okay. It's a lot easier sometimes for me to do it that way than like respond to each question as they come about. Okay, so Beth Day, this was July 4th, she posted. So I started like June 20th. So I went back a month. I'm working on a Colorado IEP state complaint for my son who will be entering 7th grade. There is a section on the state complaint where I can request mediation. Do I check the box? My gut says no, since my son will probably be changing schools. I don't only want to advocate for my child, but for other students too, to protect them from a SPED teacher who is on an alternative license who needs training. I also want to advocate for adaptive PE services, which were cut from our district this school year. Besides, I think my child is entitled to compensatory services. I should also note that I am an employee of the same district. Does it look better if I'm wanting to seek out mediation first? I would love to hear people's experiences with mediation. Also, I would love to hear from those who serve as dual parent employee role for the same district. All right. Okay, so Beth, here's the deal. And I can answer this and say confidently that 80% of the time, now the percentage is what it is, but more likely than not, okay, mediation is shit unless you request due process and mediation. All right. And there's a reason for that. Because they're not threatened through mediation, and they can deny your mediation request just as you could deny their mediation request. And while we're on that, they get to not deny or you get to deny. Always deny a facilitated IEP meeting. Always. Okay? Always, I'm going to say that again. Always deny a facilitated IEP meeting. That is basically putting a babysitter into the meeting who runs the meeting, who doesn't know your child from Adam, and tries to get the meeting just, let's go. Don't fight, da, 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 da. Very rarely do you get any word in. And, it's bullshit. Bullshit. Go watch my TikTok on that one. All right. No. Okay. Mediation is very successful when you request due process. mediation by itself, I would say make the state complaint. All right. Now, I'm your oddball when I make state complaints, because I've learned from my own experience, how to write them. All right. You don't want to fill out their stupid form. Okay. So if you're making state complaints and you're filling out stupid forms, no, take their form, say see attached. And I'm usually writing for a state complaint, depending on how many complaints, anywhere from 7 to 20 some pages. And I'm stating law, I'm stating, all kinds of things, reasoning, I'm providing proof. I mean, I gave the state of California, because in California, you can my client, the parent, could make the complaint, or I actually personally could make the complaint. The parent wanted to make the complaint, not wanted to actually write the complaint, but wanted to make the complaint. But she was totally cool. I was like, can I submit it? Because it was one of those cases where I was like, I want to submit this. This is bad. She was like, yeah, go for it. So I made the complaint in the state of California. And so it's kind of cool where they called me, they asked me questions. It was very detailed. The state complaint was 28 pages long for this case. And I might as well have written a request for due process in the states I can do that in. And basically, they'll call you with any questions. And then I put into a Google Drive and shared the Google Drive with the investigator. So with all the documentation, all the recordings, everything was put into the Google Drive that I then shared with the investigator, who was doing the complaint, investigating the complaint, which was so cool. All right. But typically states, you have to, you submit the complaint, which you do in every state. And then, I have to email all the proof, and then I'll have to ask them, how do you want the recordings, And a lot of times they're really cool with, the recordings being from the drive. But, you just want to ask. But, in regards to this question, I would lean more towards a state complaint. I don't really see, especially since there's already kind of that clashing, obviously, because you're wanting to make a state complaint, that mediation would really be that successful at this point. Like everything's kind of broken right now, and that has to mend. So making a state complaint holds them accountable for their actions. And even though many state complaints are no, slap on the hand, it still becomes one of those things where, if you're like me, where I literally, no joke, y'all, I started nitpicking. All right. And the reason I did that is because I gave so much leniency and allowance and trust and put trust into them. And I got consistently let down. And it got to a point where when you're done, you're done. And so I had to make a decision. And it's kind of, you no longer accept anything, even as little tiny as it is. So I was making complaints over and over and over. One year I made 15 state complaints. And they were slapped on the hand multiple times throughout the years. During this 1 year, all of the state complaints were found. Of my state complaints, I always had at minimum 3 to 4. And if, say, there was 4, then 3 always was founded, and sometimes I planned it that way. Sometimes I was like, shit, and the one that wasn't founded, this happened. And the one that wasn't founded, they have to tell you, the state, why, like what happened. So you could then resubmit a complaint, the same complaint. So that's what I did, and it was founded. But it causes them to do a lot of paperwork, and they don't like that. So if they're doing it over and over and over and over and over, it's a lot less work for them to say, hey, Beth, let's work together collaboratively and figure this out and work it out in the interest of the student, than to sit and have to provide proof and a written explanation to every single complaint you made. That's a pain in the ass. And it looks bad against them to always have to be submitting responses to state complaints over and over and over, when they could simply work with you, which is what OSEP suggests, which Department of Education, the big high honchos right down the street from me in DC suggests. That was what was on that great big Zoom, conference just the other day, which I will post the replay for you. But it's a lot easier working with you than you making 50 million state complaints. But that's what I encourage everybody to do. Sounds bad. I know. I'm your negative ninny IEP advocate, but I get stuff done. I don't have the tolerance anymore. I just don't. I was so tired just with my own child, and then dealing with clients that are just dealing with the same shit. And then, it's some of it's worse. And I don't have tolerance for it anymore. So I know there's lots of new advocates out there, and I love you guys. I don't know who half of you are, but I love you guys for wanting to do what you do. But you have to become hard asses. All right. I know it's so easy to say, I want to, work collaboratively with the team and get along and, just make everything right again. Doesn't work like that, honey. Doesn't. Okay. Got to take it back to old school, back in the day where we got our butts whooped, and kids like minded their P's and Q's. That's kind of how we have to do it. So post your questions below if you have questions. All right. But I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to let her know. Oh, and in regards to adaptive PE, Beth, I love adaptive PE. It rocks. So I would find out why they let it go and what are they going to do to supplement it. All right. Because it's part of it kind of goes hand in hand with PT. So it's a necessary service. So what is it that they're going to do if they got rid of it to supplement the service, what is actually done in APE for the student? So they can't just withdraw that for the child when the child was in APE and needed it. So what is it they're doing instead? Okay. So there you have it. All right. Being a teacher within the school district that your child goes to is a big, big no-no. Because here's the question that I'm going to say and ask you. What's more important? Your job and bread and butter or your child? Because that's what it comes down to. If you work in the same school district as your child and you're fighting for them and advocating for them, and you're willing to do whatever is necessary in order for their needs to be met, then prepare to be hated on and prepare for your life to be hell. And it's not worth it. So change school districts. Okay. They need teachers so bad, girlfriend. So just say adios. My child comes here and goes here. I'm going to that school district right up the street. All right. Not worth it. Not worth it. Okay. So I talk to parents all the time about this. As a teacher, I experienced other teachers having to deal with that, and look at it like bullying. All right. A child being completely bullied 24/7 indirectly, and the feeling that that person is going to have walking into that school, that sick feeling of what's going to happen today, all because you're fighting for your child. All right. And if I were to answer that question, my child would come first. Fire me. All right. So hopefully that answers your question. All right. So I'm going to respond to you, let you know I answered. All right. Yeah, Bill, there's another guy on here. I know, right? But Scott's not new. All right. Scott's been around a while. He's just back and knows I'm back. So he's back and ready to roll with me. All right. All right. And BB, how are you, girl? Hey, Aaron. Okay. Here we go. So post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live, 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Say hi. Tell me where you're from. Don't be afraid to post anything below, even if it's, I hate you as an advocate. You suck. All right. No, seriously, like post whatever you want. I encourage, unless you're just mean person towards a person. Okay, not okay. But if you're responding to something that you don't agree with, or you know something else that you can offer and bring to the table, absolutely. Okay, because nobody is always going to argue with each person. But what I'm going to tell you is what is federal and state law per idea, and what is and isn't allowed. But guess what? We're all learning every single day. I tell people all the time, I learn something new in every single IEP meeting, every single one. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next question. All right. Who's next? That was my post. I posted and I said, there comes a time when you realize that what you're advocating for is far more than accommodations. You're advocating for someone's quality of life. That's the moment you realize that you won't give up. Okay, so Beth, all right. Beth says, this is July 13th. She says, hi, everyone. I'm a parent of a child with autism. I'm looking for parent support groups with meetings maybe once a week, even if it's on Zoom. Please let me know if there's something I can join. Thank you. All right, so guys, I am starting, as you know, my membership. All right. All emails, if you're not on my email list, make sure you join my email list. I can send you actually the link to my free checklist, and then you can put your email in. I don't send bullshit emails. I don't send 50 freaking million emails. I haven't sent an email in months, but I'm going to be starting to send at minimum 2 to 3 a week, no more than 3 a week. Just giving you, and I'm going to also be doing a newsletter. But the newsletter isn't just going to be about IEPs. It's going to be, about advocating. It's going to be resources that you can look into and things like that. And the membership is super cheap, and it's monthly, and twice a month we will hop on Zoom together, and we will talk about not IEP law. That you will learn as we go. What you will learn in the Zooms and in the membership is, number one, you're going to get all my stuff. All right. Like all those quick responses I tell you about with emails, I'm going to give you that stuff. I'm going to give you some of my products for free, and all the other products you're going to get at 50% off. Then you're also going to get me twice a month face-to-face on Zoom. And I'm going to teach you what to do when you're in the IEP meeting, virtually or in person. I suggest virtually. But I'm going to tell you what to do. All right. So, because that's where the problem is. A lot of us are knowledgeable now, right? But, like I say, my Google PhD didn't teach me what to do in that meeting. Kind of like we go to college and then we get out and, we're thrown into this career and we're like, what the hell am I supposed to do? You learn as you go, right? Same thing with IEPs. All right. It's just a lot more difficult. All right. So, and you're dealing with different situations all the time, different things that come up, different difficulties, different stalling, different gaslighting, different things that are coming up, and things that are said to you that you just believe because you trust them. And then you're just like, what? So that's important to know. All right. There's a couple people who wanted to get on the group, so I want to allow them to come on really quick. So yeah. All right. Cool. Elixir sucks. It's like raining here, and I'm going to a concert tonight. So I got the concert tickets tonight for Lady A. All right. Yeah, I like country, and I like a lot of things, but I love country. So I'm going to that tonight, and then tomorrow, my husband surprised me for my birthday because my birthday was on Wednesday. Um, he surprised me with Keith Urban tickets, which is tomorrow in DC. So I'm excited about that. All right. So, but today it's raining and tonight's is outside where tomorrow's is inside. So I'm like, this is going to suck. But I don't care because I have been wanting to see Lady A for a long time. So I will sit and stand in the freaking rain and drink beer and not give a shit. Okay? Because I want to see them. Period. Okay. So, yeah, I'm adding these people real quick on the group because they want to join and hear the Q&A. All right. Okay, so I'm going to approve them all so they can hop on real quick. Okay, cool, done. All right, so let's go back to the questions. All right, so Yashonda and Aaron asked questions. So let me get Aaron's first since hers was first. I want to say it was first somewhere. Okay, what if the child is attention seeking, even if it's negative attention? My child's been doing that herself lately. She's been awful. And it's attention seeking behavior. Okay. Skylar had which Aaron, you could have called me over this. All right. But, okay. So attention, she had a one-on-one for behavior, safety, redirection. Behavior was attention seeking behavior. All right. So attention seeking behavior is because the child is in need or want of something. Okay. They are wanting it or needing it so bad. And it could be something as simple as a sensory stimulation type item they need, or a blanket, a heavy blanket, or etc. Dependent on the child and dependent on the child's behaviors. All right. Is how you can dissect why the behavior is happening. So whatever the behavior is, which I don't know what it is, you didn't post that. You know better. So let's just say like Skylar. This is what she's doing, guys. So one of the things she's doing is she's not calling me mom right now. And she's getting ready to turn 17 on the 8th. All right. She now will say Raven, because she knows that I'll tune her out sometimes when she's doing things that are attention seeking. All right. So now she's saying Raven because she knows I turn my head every time she says it. So I find that funny. My other kids did it too, and they don't have disabilities like my son. You know, he knew that, you know, if he called mom, he knew that if he said Raven that I would answer. So she's doing that. But she's throwing these fits because she is wanting something and I say no. And she doesn't like the word for some reason. That sets her the heck off. And I told her, she's older, she understands. All right. And guys, if you have children that are higher maybe in functioning, like she's middle of the road functioning as far as like academically and mature wise, but she understands a crap ton. So it's kind of like she's going to be 17, but she's on different levels, like fourth, fifth grade level for reading now. Thank God, because she was on a kindergarten level in fifth grade. All right. So she's jumped in just a year and a half. Okay. By that much with Linda Mood Bell. Thank God. And so, you know, I'm holding her back this year, which I decided upon because I did want to give her more time. Again, that's a personal decision. And, you know, when attention seeking behavior is when a child is wanting your attention. So if they're doing something negative, unless it's unsafe, then you ignore it. That's it. Ignore it. All right. Because the goal is to teach them, which you need to say when you act, depending on if they understand or not. All right. And your kids do. So saying, all right, hey, if you're going to act like that, mom's not going to answer you. If they don't understand when you say things like that, say, we don't talk like that. However it is you need to communicate with them in order to relay, when you do that, you're not going to get my attention. When you change how you act and then teach them how to do it yourself. That's how I taught Sky. All right. So if I wanted to teach her how to unload the dishwasher, I did it multiple times and then had her do it. Did she do it right the first several times? Heck no. But now she knows that my plastics, Tupperware type drawer drives me nuts and falls out when I open it because for some crazy reason I collect the crap. She knows that if it's messy, she'll go organize it how I like it because I'm like totally OCD. It's kind of funny. But I taught her by doing, this is how you do it. 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 Now she knows how to clean her bathroom. She knows how to do her unload the dishwasher, which is her job. So dependent on the child, and the impact of disability. But, for my child and your child, Aaron, or children, attention-seeking behavior needs to be ignored unless it's unsafe to them or others. Okay? All right. So, Scott, 47. Very cheap, right? And thank you for the happy birthday. How cool is that? Look at you. Way to go. I do, you do. What are you talking about, Aaron? Are you like talking? Am I like, did I lose it? I probably am not. Yeah. Yeah. The I do, you do. Yes. The I do, you do, we do. Yes, totally. But, I just did it over and over. And then I would have her do it and mess up on purpose because none of us are perfect. We don't learn something and bam, Keith Urban. Oh my God, I can't wait. All right. So Yashonda, I have a 10-year-old son that had to quarantine at least 3 times in the past school year. As a result, I got a friend of mine who used to be a school teacher with my district to come to my house and teach him. Very cool. He concluded that my son is intelligent and he absolutely can learn and that he needs one-to-one for him to excel. Oh God, this sounds so familiar. In order for him to excel academically. But they are refusing, I'm assuming the school is assuming is refusing to give that to him. I was unaware that the curriculum that he is currently being taught prevents him from getting a high school diploma. Call me. It's like, what is it, deja vu? Is that how it's said? Mine, Wednesday, Bill. Yashonda, message me on Aaron here. Let me Aaron's going to give you the link to Aaron, if you can you give her just the link to my WhatsApp? Contact me on WhatsApp, Yashonda. All you have to do is download it on any app store, your iPhone or Samsung or whatever. And then she'll give you the link, which is to me. And then I love it because you can talk on it, like voice, or you can do a video face to face. You can do phone calls. I talk to people out of the country on it. It's super cool. I love it. And text and everything else. So that's where I do a lot of business because it's a lot safer than like Messenger. Okay. It's encrypted. I like the privacy. All right. So she'll give you the link. If she doesn't, then I will. But call me. Number 1, your friend who used to be a teacher needs to write something up for you. Really, you can give them a copy. I don't know if I would. I'd have to see it. But and give bullet points of what was seen, what was reviewed, how did he do better? Why does a one-on-one type approach work better? What makes you believe? What has the student, your son, shown in order to prove that that's the approach he needs? That's the approach my daughter needs. Okay, Shonda. And so I'm asking you the questions that I know you have to be able to answer. There's 50,000 million more. But in order to do this, which is hard, we have to be able to answer some questions and have some data. All right. And I got you, but there's a process. All right. But I'll tell you this, you don't want to let any more time waste if he's 10. All right. Because it's just going to get worse. And then he'll fall behind now that he isn't getting that one-on-one. Okay. All right. So let's go back real quick to the autism group, answer a couple more questions. All right. So I think we were on, I did Beth Day. All right. So Leanne Kennedy, she actually just posted, and this is the last post. Yeah. I did everybody. Okay. So, okay. So Leanne says, hello, what do you do when the school was unable to test your child for her present levels? The school tried with the state test, but she had no response. I wasn't surprised because it isn't something they work on, and it's questions that are over her head. So the teachers should provide me with present levels from observation, right? How do I get that? She doesn't read, write, spell, or do math. Okay. Okay. So Leanne, first, I'm going to say from what you wrote, and I'm assuming, okay, from what you wrote, I'm assuming that your child is pretty impacted, okay? How old is your child is my first question. What are the disabilities? Is it autism? Is it dyslexia? Is it autism and ADHD? What are the disabilities? All right. And how do those disabilities impact your child in the educational setting? All right. And then the third question is, does your child have an IEP? All right. And then the fourth question is, there's no such thing as test your child for present levels, so to speak. All right. I have a present levels and goals course coming out. So you test academic, cognitive, speech, OT, PT, whatever, in order to create present levels. Okay. So I'm guessing that's what you mean. And various tests are out there and provided in order to meet where that child is, if that makes sense. So if there's a child that's nonverbal, obviously they're not going to be given or shouldn't be given a test that's going to assess them where they have to verbally respond. I would hope that's not done, so where they can point or they can do, other verbal actions in order to show that they know it. So that's number one. Number two, on the other hand, there are some students that cannot be assessed. All right. But I would go back to the assessment piece, just in talking with you, and figure out, I would need to know what assessments were done, who did them, and then I would need to see them. All right. And then I would need to know about your child. What are the disabilities? What are the impact of disabilities in order to put it together? Does that make sense? So you're going to get maybe a lot of responses, but in all reality, nobody can accurately respond to it so take it with a grain of salt, because none of us know, does your child have an IEP? What are the disabilities? What are the impact of disabilities? All of these things that we need to know in order to appropriately respond. Okay. So the teacher should provide you with present levels from observations. Well, it's not providing you with present levels from observations. It's providing you with what it is that they have from their observations. So Is that going to be to the quality in which I expect present levels to be? I don't know, more than likely not. But what I would do is I would have a meeting and I would ask all my damn questions, which are a lot. And that teacher would be talking a lot. And then that teacher would be providing me with data to support everything that she said. You want to get the teacher to respond first, then provide the data. Okay? Get what I'm saying here? So if I said blah, 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 all right, this is what he can do. This is what he can do. This is what he can do. Oh, he's doing amazing in this. Okay, show me. Child can do this. Child can do this. Child can do this. Oh, okay, that's awesome. Show me. It's always, guys, show me. Whenever you hear your child can do this, your child's doing amazing with her math. Show me. Your child is able to do double-digit multiplication. Show me. Your child is able to read a paragraph now and answer all the questions that are asked in order to support the fact that she understands everything she read in that paragraph. Show me. All right? Data, 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 data. I love it that you want to tell me these things. But what I'm going to love even more is when you show me. Prove it. That's what we need to put on some of the, swag that I'm coming out with. I'll get you moms. I'll have to come up with dad stuff. So Scott and Bill, if you're interested in like IEP type t-shirts, tell me what it is that you're thinking. All right. Like, what is it you would wear? Because I know my husband was like, I'm not wearing that. So what is it you would wear that's kind of funny? Because I've seen some and dads are rocking it. And I'm like, oh my God, that's hilarious. So tell me what your ideas are. Message me or post them here. But I'll get them if you tag me or just message me privately. But the thing is, I should get something that says Autism Mama Rocks the IEP. Show me the data. Show me, yeah. But yeah, I'm all about data. You can tell me shit all day. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now show it to me. All right. Because when you're shown, you're going to know if they wrote it up within that like 30 minutes before they gave it to you. Or if they didn't. I was saying the other day that it's funny, but it's not funny. That when I catch that, because they always make mistakes. When you're doing something rash to be dishonest, you always make a mistake. You just got to be able to catch it. And like I had this speech therapist. I mean, she messed up so bad with dates and like had the child doing speech when the child wasn't even at school. That link's all jacked up, Aaron. I don't know what the hell that is. That it was bad. The parent ended up actually reporting her to Asha, and God knows what happened, but I won't go into that, but it was bad. So you're gonna know that though. All right, Leanne. So the teacher should provide you with data. All right. Remember that that data should always be taken, but observations are simply an opinion. Your opinion of going and observing your child in the classroom, my opinion of going to observe your child in the classroom, the teacher observing your child in the classroom, everybody could have a different opinion. Now, does it matter to hear it? Yes, because it's kind of, if it's the same across the board, then it's like, okay, let's kind of put that into play. But then if, it's not, then again, it's opinion. Everybody's entitled to one. Everybody has one. I want data. I want hardcore data. What is it? A or B? In life, we all kind of live in the gray. Things aren't always black and white. With IEPs, it's black and white. It is or it isn't. They can or they can't. All right. Now, do I want to know that they're working towards things, that they're improving, and the story? Of course, because that goes into play. But at the end of the day, is the need that they're working on it, or is the need that they can't do it yet? The need is that they can't do it yet. All right. So that's important to know. So if you have any other questions, Leanne, message me on WhatsApp. Okay. I'm responding to her. All right. So that was it. All right. So I'll take a couple more questions and then I'm going to hop off. Okay. I've been on here an hour and 17 minutes. Damn. Make sure you guys share this. Okay. And then post below so I can put your name in the hat. So you can win some stuff. Yashonda says he doesn't want the blowback in case he has to go back to teaching. I will reach out to you as soon as I get your info. Yeah, and I'll message you. But or here, hold on. All right, I'm gonna post it right here. Hopefully it all posts. Okay, and it all posted, but in like 2. So let me just post the link too. So this is to WhatsApp of how you guys can contact me. And I am finally taking new clients. So if you're interested, definitely message me. I only have a couple spots. Okay. 4 to be exact. So message me if you're interested. They do go pretty quickly. But I did want to put that out there. So I just put it up there. It did all go through in that last one. So it's the HTTPS WA-ME message, and then it ends with the O1. Okay. So you, and then above it tells you download WhatsApp in the App Store, sign in through Facebook or your email, and then my link. That's it. Okay. Or you can get me on Facebook Messenger, and then I'll give you the link and stuff there too. But WhatsApp is super easy. All right. So, all right. So, and I can give you some 411 in regards to getting that written up from him. Okay. And what we do with it. Okay. That's right, Kim. That data. Scott says, I have a 5-year-old that I believe has ADHD. I was diagnosed with it, and he shows the same symptoms. Anyway, he's in kindergarten in a magnet school that requires testing to get in and is very strict on academics. How do I ensure my son's success? Well, I would definitely get him diagnosed and then figure out what it is that is impacting him. So get him diagnosed and then figure out, because I don't know what it is. So what's impacting him in the educational setting, like what's happening that is being a situation, a problem, inhibiting his education, etc. Is it behavior? What is it? And so then I would take that diagnosis and then the information that you're getting, whether it's, daily communication sheets or the teacher's calling you or whatever. And if again, don't take phone calls. All right. Or if a phone call is made, then you need to follow it up immediately with an email retelling the story of the phone call. always in writing. If it's not in writing, it never happened. So that's where I would start. Okay. And then we meet and we deal with things. But you have to focus on get the diagnosis just so you have it, and then the impact of disability within the school. Okay. Kim says, I was wondering the difference between modified and regular gym. Well, modified is typically that APE. All right. And then regular gym is a gym, it's PE. So that's the difference. So I love APE, like a lady was saying that, it was taken away in Colorado, or her school district got rid of it. But AP is great because it's basically that support. So like my daughter was in PE, but then she had a one-on-one with her. And then she had APE, where that's where she was taught how to do the things they do in PE safely. So if it was, say, sit-ups, all right, she was taught how to appropriately do them so she didn't hurt her back or hurt herself. If she was hopping or jumping, whatever it is that they're doing, they're learning the right way to do it versus, how our kids can kind of be kind of flumby sometimes and, all over the place and, not really have that control. That's the goal, is to help in supporting them with their physicality and incorporating what it is that they learn into the regular PE class. So if that makes sense. Which would be great for your son. All right. So Alicia Lamar, do you have any knowledge about the North Carolina IEP process if I disagree with it? Well, I have knowledge about the North Carolina IEP process because the IEP process is all the same. All right. There's federal and state law. Federal law trumps state law. I could probably count on one hand how many state laws actually are different within each state. Maybe it's two hands, but federal law is IDEA. In IDEA, certain things within IDEA are allow that state to make those choices. Okay, for example, some states are one party, some states are two party, some states are all party. But the IEP process is all in one, in the same. Just different names of a document, or but they all still lead to the same thing. So hopefully that answers your question in regards to the IEP process, and all of us disagree with it. So I think I need to know your question versus like, yes, I'm knowledgeable in the North Carolina IEP process, and we all disagree with most of how the process works. But I wouldn't say so much the process, then I would say what the school district does and how they don't follow the right process is what I would say. Hopefully that answers your question. But definitely message me if you have any, direct questions in regards to that, so I can answer a little bit better. Or just audio tape a conversation when a phone call is done. Yeah, definitely. With Rev call recorder. But again, if it's a one-party state. If not, what you can do is on Rev call recorder, you can push a button for a two-party state, where it says you're being recorded, or it has that beep, where it lets the person know that they're being recorded. Okay. So yeah. All right, guys. So definitely message me if you have further questions on WhatsApp. I gave you the link here. I do have 4 spots open. They do go quick, as many of you know. But I haven't taken clients in like 4 months, and I just recently started. So just in the past 2 weeks, I've taken on 3, and I will take 4 more so I don't make myself batshit crazy. And I will talk to you guys soon. have a great weekend. I hope it stops raining. It stopped raining, but I hope it like stops raining and like maybe rains now and not tonight so I can enjoy the concert that's outside. Um, but yeah, post below. What are you guys doing this weekend? And yes, I am so freaking excited, Scott, about this membership. I wasn't going to do it for the longest time. But it's needed. I'm realizing more and more and more, kind of like Alicia. Is that how I say your name? Hopefully I said it right. Lamar, she, the process is something we disagree with, or, what's going on really within the process. And, we're wanting more. We're wanting to know what to do in the IEP meeting. We're wanting, like you asked, like, how do I make sure my child has success? How do I make sure that the school district's doing what they're supposed to be doing? And how do I know with what they're saying is actually accurate? Because believe me, they will bullshit you till they're blue in the face. I mean, and parents believe it. And guess what? It doesn't make them a dummy, because I did it too. And I'm no dummy. And y'all aren't dummies either. We just don't know this IEP process. I'd rather learn a foreign language than the IEP process. It's like a foreign language times 100, I mean, because a foreign language, at least you're learning that language and there's a focus and you can communicate with other people. And, like I'm learning Spanish more fluently, and I work with a lot of, the Spanish community. I'm learning sign language because I'm moving into working with the deaf community. And, that's so much easier to learn than this IEP process that took me a decade to freaking learn. I mean, 6.5 years of fighting for my daughter, but like I said, I still to this day learn something new in the IEPs that I go to. It doesn't mean I'm not ready to go. It doesn't mean I'm not ready to deal with it, because I deal with it every day. But it's when you learn something new, you can build from it and, go with it. But I'll tell you, there's so many advocates out there, and this is nothing, in regards to a negative, but it's like, there's a difference between an advocate and wanting to advocate for your child. Okay. So if you want to advocate for your child, that's different than being an advocate. Okay. I had to be both and still am both. But just, understand the difference there. My goal is to help you become advocates. And if you choose to become, no, my job is to teach you how to advocate. But if you choose to become an advocate, you're going to have all the tools in which to do that. You're going to have all the documentation. You're going to have my first emails, which some of my clients already have, but there's other things that they don't have at all. And then how to, you guys, I have a ton of stuff that you're going to be getting, but you guys are going to say, oh, I just got this email, and you're going to send it to me because I'm going to want certain things from you. And then I'm going to pick and choose certain things that, okay, I'm going to respond to that. And then you're going to get that copy. You're going to get the PDF. I will be taking out names. So parents are going to send me things. All right. You're going to have that opportunity. And then I'm going to take that email, respond to it based on having a conversation with you, because this is the way to teach you. Right. And then I'm going to respond how I would respond after I got 411 from you. And you're going to see how that process goes. And so it's going to start coming to you. She responds like that. And this is what I get, right, Kim? Right, Aaron? This is what I get in the beginning. I would have not responded like that. Or, I've gotten, wow. I've had a parent just say, wow. And then I said, there's a method to my madness. And then she saw the response from the school, and she was like, do you know that for 7 months, one of them said a year, I've been trying to get a response, and you get a response after one email? So like there's certain things that I want you to learn that you're going to take with you. The other thing that I'm going to do that I feel is different is, you're going to go to IEP meetings. All right. some of you, I know you're going to hire me. I'm going to do it. You're going to watch me. You're going to learn. I get that. I know. But because honestly, getting that IEP on point is more important than advocating for your child at the moment. Having, like, say I did it, and then you go and learn the process. That is important because you want your child on point, right? That's what Kim did, and she's advocating for her child now. Aaron did it, so I got their children on point IEPs, and now they're leading the way. Do they come back to me and ask questions or whatnot? Of course, I ask questions. So, keeping in mind that you're going to be able to say you record your IEP. All right, Scott. And you're like, you asked a question, they yelled at you or whatever. Then I'm going to say, all right, send me the recording or cut that recording. I mean, save the whole recording, but then cut the recording to that one point, like 5 minutes or whatever. And I'll listen to it. If I have your written permission, I will then play it for everybody. All right. Because the Zooms will be recorded on the membership. So if you can't attend, you can then listen later. It's a membership where you'll enter an email, you'll have your own password, and it's your membership. Where all the PDFs are going to be there. The Zooms will be there that are live with the topics and so forth. And then there's a Q&A section. All right. And so I'll take that recording, play it, and then say, okay, here's some tips, or, this is why they said this. This is what I would say. Go back and this is what I would do. And then I would say this. Now, do you have to do that? Am I telling you what to do? No, but I'm giving you what I would do. All right. And why it would work. And if it doesn't, you come back to me and then we work through it. But it will show you and teach you the process of how you have to be persistent and consistent in pushing the law, all right, idea, special ed law, and knowing your shit. Because they know when you don't know your shit and you're just quoting law. They know it and they think you're a joke. All right. Believe me, I was on the back end. I hear what they say about you, what they said about me. Believe me, your mouth would be like this. All right. I got FOIA data that would make you not shut your mouth for hours. Meaning emails back and forth from superintendent to director, director to so-and-so, teacher to so-and-so. Oh, yeah. Now, that was an interesting read. I could write a book on that one. Okay, Alicia, yeah, message me. And I did my first one on my own. I was surprised they had same goals that I was thinking, and these goals were done. I had them put in the IEP. They are to send me all the data. Yep. They don't want me back, Kim. They don't want to deal with me. They're like, what do you want, Kim? What do you want? We don't want Raven back, so just tell me what you want. We don't want her. We don't want to deal with her no more. Right? Right, Bill? They don't want to deal with me no more. Tell me what you want, Kim. That's what they're saying now. Tell me what you want. And so now you're like, okay, this. All right. For example, they are giving my son, which is nonverbal. Am I reading that right? Y'all need to go back and read Alicia, what she just said. Because I don't even know what to say. She said, for example, they are giving my son, who's nonverbal, 6 minutes of speech therapy in the classroom. I will not get myself worked up today. Okay, because then I'll be drinking beer too early, Alicia. Okay, before the concert. So go back and listen to me because on other lives, because this, yeah. This is a pet peeve. Because this is basically, this says, and I'm sorry to all the amazing speech therapists out there, please forgive me. But this speech therapist who advised, and I don't know the whole situation, but what I can say is if a child is nonverbal and they're only getting 6 minutes in a classroom, what the hell is wrong with that speech therapist? She needs to be fired immediately. And then I would then take on the school district who approved that bullshit. And I would call Asha and say, I would complain about her license, that she does not need that license, that she is actually causing harm to children, then good. Not okay. I'm not going to get into that one today. I'm just not going to get into that one today. That is a pet peeve of mine, because when a child needs something and it's so in your damn face that they need it, and you're not giving them every chance they possibly can have in order to make progress. My child was nonverbal, and now she talks back, and I want to knock her out sometimes because she talks that much. Why? Because I banged speech therapy into her with outside and in school speech therapy 3 times a week inside for an hour and 3 times a week outside for an hour. And I would lay into that speech therapist. She would, well, one of them ended up crying. But there's so many good speech therapists out there. These are the people that ruin the reputation. Pisses me off because there's so many good speech therapists out there. I mean, I'm friends with several good speech therapists that I would recommend to anybody. And this pisses me off. It's like, that one bad apple. Anyway, message me. I do have only 4 spots open. And I will talk to you guys soon. We will be doing this twice a month starting in August. All right. And I will let you know the days. But be patient with me, because there's sometimes where I'll say, okay, it's going to be on Tuesday, from such and such to such and such time. And you get your hopes up and you're ready. But sometimes I got to change it up because I do have Skylar and I do have things that happen with her and things like that. Am I going to do it? Yes. But, there may be times where I'm like, I got to reschedule, or, I'm going to do it at a later time and that sort of thing. So just be patient with me. But I got you guys. All right. And share this. All right. Share this, because a lot of these questions, all these questions were amazing. So thank you for that. And thank you to all the people who wrote many of the questions on the group. And I look forward to answering more than likely the second week of August. Okay. So have a wonderful Friday, and I will see you guys probably Sunday evening. And that is where we're gonna talk about, because I have told you the next chat is going to be about paras. All right, para educators, one-on-ones, RBTs, all of that kind of stuff. All right, so stay tuned for that. That is next. That is the next content area that we are going to hit. Pass this around, invite as many paras and RBTs and one-to-ones, they're all called different things, that you like. And I'm excited to get talking about that. I think that's going to be a really good subject. I think it's, there's lots of issues with it today, and lots of things that are happening, and lots of different things within different school districts that are happening. And then, I'm going to give you the pros and cons. All right. And we're going to just have an open conversation. So come prepared, tell your friends about it, tell other parents, or groups that, this is going to be a conversation we're going to be having. And it's either going to be Monday late afternoon or Sunday evening. And I will post, at minimum an hour in advance, if not sooner. So you guys know. But I think it's going to be a good listen and a good collaboration. So I want you guys to come with questions, kind of like, we had questions here about, wanting a one-on-one, the child needing to learn that way, which is how my child learns one-to-one. She does not learn in a classroom with a bunch of children or with a group. It's too distracting for her. But sometimes, a group is beneficial to a child. So, we're going to talk about different things and how one-on-ones, paras, RBTs, et cetera, come into play, the positives and negatives in having one, and and then some of the issues that can happen. All right, and do happen. All right. Along with some of the things that you're not told. Okay. So I will talk to you guys soon, again, Sunday or Monday, and I may even go with both days, live both days, but 100% one or the other, and I will let you guys know in advance. So have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.